Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of the Yggdrasil Roadshow. I'm your host, Alexander Lapiniemi, and I'll take you through the agenda of the day. We are going to focus on the July releases. I'm going to be phoning up the studios, and we're going to have a chat about the games, see what we have there, digest a little bit, and some Q&As to see what we really have going on there. It's going to be super cool. The July games are really hot, so I'm looking forward to getting a closer look at what we can expect from these releases. We're going to have a look at the network promotions. Of course, we don't actually have anything for July. The next one is in August, and that is the Starfall 50K prize drop. It's a very common mechanic at this point. The players, they know what they're getting into. They can expect some fast and easy, nice wins on the spin. So make sure you're opted in for that one by speaking to your account manager. Following that, starting in September, we have the Fortune Quest Network Promo Series. It's going to be in 3 stages. They're not going to run consecutively. There's going to be a bit of a gap between each stage, and it's going to run from September all through November. And here we have what we're going to call the prize drop double chance, which is essentially more prizes for the players. So do make sure you advertise that, and as always, check with your account manager that you are opted in to not miss out on this glorious opportunity. Let's have a look at the panel of the day. Firstly, I'll be dialing up our very own Sebastian, and we're going to talk about Mexo Max, upcoming Yggdrasil studio game. It's a really cool one, so really looking forward to see the gameplay there and to talk a bit to Seb about the kind of thoughts behind the game. Following that, I'm dialing up Yann Bautista from Peter and Sons, and we're going to look at the game Wild One, which is a really cool rock and roll groovy game. And last but not least, I'm calling up Matt from Reflex, and we're going to have a look at Dublin Up, which is a really cool game. And I gotta say, the title is really smart with the exemplary play on words. It's a double max game. It's Dublin Up. It's also Irish themed. So Dublin. I think that's pretty cool. Looking forward to see what that game has to offer. So without further ado, let's dig into it. All right, first out here in this edition of the Yggdrasil Roadshow, we have our very own Sebastian Belton, who's got a very juicy game for us today. So what you got for us, Seb?
Yeah, hi, Alex. Today I've got for you Mexo Max Multi-Max. I'm really excited to showcase this game. It's going to be a massive hit. We've got a lot of it riding with our streamers as well that we're going to be outputting. We hope this is going to be a really smash hit there.
That sounds pretty exciting, gotta say. So let's look at some gameplay and see what we got.
Let's jump straight in. Welcome everyone to Mexo Max. I'm really excited today to present to you this new amazing slot from Yggdrasil. As you can see, we have a jungle theme for this slot. Realistically, we bought this in from Multifly, one of our previous very popular slots that we had, and we've taken inspiration from that and feedback from customers, and we've applied it to Mexo Max. Obviously, you can see here we're using the multi-max feature. As you can see, a lot's going on. I'll explain as much as I can. You can see the multipliers are being applied by the wilds. Every time you get a cluster win of 5 or more, that wild is coming down and applying a multiplier to the top. This is where the multi-max feature is implemented into the title. Every single win will generate 1 wild. That wild will then produce a multiplier value at the top, and that multiplier value will then be applied to any future wins that are underneath that. So if you have a cluster win in that sector, the multiplier will be applied to that win value. The really exciting thing about this game is that it can generate huge wins. We have a max volatility of 6 out of 6 for this game, which is very high, but also has really exciting wins. We've definitely aimed this game towards streamers, and obviously a lot of customers will get eyes on this game. So we believe that this is the correct way towards a really popular slot. We're obviously excited about the potential that this can bring to our customer base and the kind of excitement that it will bring alongside it. We obviously have other features as well. As you can see, there's a red bar there that you can't see. That's going to be the buy bonus because we've implemented that due to feedback from just streamers, but also we believe that it's useful for a lot of our markets in Europe to enjoy that aspect. And of course, our popular golden bet feature, which gives you a double chance to hit the free spins. As you can see, we're getting the treasure chest here. This is a new feature that we've brought in from Vikings. It's a very, very popular feature from Vikings, and it gives you a win value of monetary value, but it can also give you access to free spins as well, which is a really great gateway into the free spins, as obviously that's the most lucrative payout section of the game. So we're very much trying to give customers as many options as possible to enjoy the slot. There is a lot more to come with this slot. As you can see in the top, it's under development at the moment, so there's still some sections to go. As you said, we've now hit the free spins and we have an option to gamble. You can gamble the free spin value up from its base value for an additional 2 free spins here, which we have hit. So we will now be able to get a value of 9 free spins, and we're going to go into the free spins round. As you can see, some of this has not quite finished yet. Now, what's different from the base game and the bonus feature? Well, what's the difference is that we get the permanence of the multiplier values, which is where the real big value of multi-max comes into play. Obviously, you can see we've got the 3 times multiplier going on the left there. If we get additional win values, those will now remain. As you can see, the 3 times 3 is still there. We've got times 2 now on the right. These are going to remain, and we're going to continue getting those wilds and continue building the multipliers across the top bar. If we're able to get lucky here, then the real win value can come through, and the power of multi-max and the excitement for customers, we believe, will be a very, very high. The opportunity to win very big is there. Obviously, there is the aspect of volatility, but when that win comes through, it's going to be an amazing experience, an unforgettable experience for the customer. So as you can see, this is playing out. We're now getting quite a lot of multiplier values across. We've got 3 sets of times 3 and 2 sets of times 2. And obviously the excitement is that we must push here the excitement of the slot, how much this is building for the customer. Those values starting to get very high now, and it just only takes like a few opportunities to get, as you can see, like a 6 euro win there. If those clusters are able to build across the screen, you're going to get a whole selection of those multi-max popping off at once. If you can build the clusters from left to right, you're going to get the 3, the 4, the 4, and the 2, and the 3 all at once if you can go right across the screen. So that's the power. You see here is a good example. We're going to get a lot of multipliers. You see that's the multi-max in action there. And obviously the higher the wins, also the free spin values, the higher the free spin values, the bigger the wins as well. You see you've got a 64 time multiplier there, and obviously like a really good return on investment there.
All right, thank you so much for that presentation, Seb. What a cool game. I really gotta say, I am super excited to hit the reels on this one for sure. But let's let's digest a bit what we just saw there. So let's start with a theme. If you could walk us through a bit the theme, like what it is, like what's up here.
So Alex, really obviously the theme is pretty self-explanatory. It's a jungle theme with Aztecian. Is Aztecian a word? I hope it is, but if it is Aztec themed.
Just invented it.
Yeah, just invented it. Obviously, we've developed it. Jungle style themes are very popular in the market in general, but we've utilized it from previously from our game Multifly that we got a lot of popular feedback from, and we've taken that feedback and applied it into Mexo Max, and obviously we've built on it as well to make it a very unique looking slot, and I'm sure you'll agree, and hopefully people viewing will agree that the game does very much stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, it really pops out. I really like this, especially now during the summer when we have the jungle. It feels like, right where I am, in the jungle. It feels great. But regarding the prominent feature here, the multi-max, right? So this is something that we have in some of our games, but we haven't released it in a long time. So if you could just walk us through like what the difference would be between the multi-max and let's say the double max, for example?
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a very valid question, Alex. I think, and maybe a lot of the people watching will probably want to know that the answer to that question. Double max is obviously a no ceiling limit multiplier that's applied from consistent wins that sort of double up and double up. Obviously see them in our previous releases like Raptor. Is very clear how the structure works. Multi-max is a little bit more complex in design. Obviously, it works very well and complements the cluster pay that we have in MexoMax, whereby that every single time a wild is applied to a cluster win, that multiplier is then applied above it. The consecutive multipliers that are across the reel can all be different numbers. And when you have a sort of a selection of cluster pays all underneath different multipliers, it will take those different multipliers in the top and apply them collectively to an overarching win value, which is where the term multi-max comes from.
Yeah, I get it. I think that, just you said there, it's a more kind of complex, double max feature with the multi-max, where you still have the kind of feeling where how far can I go with the multipliers, but you have this added layer of having multiple multipliers to work with the wilds coming in. Obviously, you want them to connect as well. So I think it adds this exciting complexity. So maybe it's a bit harder to get into, but I do believe that once you understand this feature and get into it, there's a lot more player engagement in the feature. And I think that really adds to the excitement of this game. So I'm really hoping to see a lot of people get in there and understand how this works, because there's a lot of fun to be had there. Massive thrill of the spin for sure.
Well, absolutely. That's the whole idea of the game. Really, we've designed this game obviously around streamers, which they provide a lot of feedback of how fun a game is. At the end of the day, streamers pretty much are the cutting edge line for streaming for slot design, and their feedback is very, very important to the market and to our customers. So we believe MexoMax is really sort of hitting all of those targets, and hopefully that will also be reflected in customer plays when they get hold of the game.
Cool. Entertainment first. I do love
Absolutely.
that. About the volatility of this game, I mean, obviously it's a very high potential game. I mean, the volatility is high, but how would, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place the volatility of MexoMax?
Well, we have our own internal structure for volatility, but I mean, obviously it's a maximum level. So we have rated it a 6 out of 6 on our own selection. So I guess it would be a 10. The reason for that is the actual multi-max structure for the clusters. In the bonus game, you have a huge potential to get towering levels of wins with those multipliers being applied. But that's not to undervalue or undermine the base game, where there's still a lot of potential to get the cluster wins in a row. Obviously, you saw in the video, in the showcase, that in the multiplier is persistent in the feature. It's in the base game. You can still collectively build up some big wins if you're able to chain clusters together and get some big wins that way. And let's not forget, as also a showcase, the treasure chest, which gives you a good potential to get into the feature as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good way of doing it, because obviously you want to create a thrilling journey throughout for the player, right? So from the base game into the bonus round and out, so that you get a nice journey, so you can really feel the thrill even in the base game. And I think Multimax does it really well here, obviously, with this kind of intricate feature where you have this multi-layer entertainment where potential is all over the board, right? And you can connect the dots and you can hope to score something really, really nice with the connecting wilds and multipliers. I think that's super good. And also the fact that, you can trigger the treasure chest on a losing spin, right? So you can hit the bonus round that way, aside from just hitting the scatters, which is the more kind of traditional way. So for me, that's super exciting, knowing that on every spin I can hit a massive potential, even where there are none. So I really, really like that.
And also something that's also been asked a lot for is obviously the bonus buy. Unfortunately, as you saw in the video, it's not actually currently in the game yet, but as I mentioned, it's still a work in progress. But yeah, we will have the buy bonus feature that will be available in the final version of the game.
Yeah, and for the golden bet, if you choose to play with a golden bet, it essentially gives you an increased chance of triggering the bonus round, right?
Not just increased chance, it doubles your chances.
It doubles your chance. Wow, that's pretty solid. Good for the viewers to know that as well.
Yeah.
To hit it big. Yeah, but that was really all I wanted to ask about the game. All in all, I'm really pleased with the presentation. I think this is a very high potential game. I'm really looking forward to hitting the reels on this one and to see what people think about it. So yeah, thank you so much for this, Seb.
As always, an absolute pleasure, Alex, and I really hope everyone that plays this will really enjoy the title. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
With me right now on the line, I have the man himself, Yann Bautista. Nice to have you on the Roadshow again. Today, we're having a look at another one of your fantastic games. We have Wild 1. I really like this game. I'm a bit of a rock and roll guy, and this game surely has the groove. Thank you for tuning in, Yann. Looking forward to the game.
Hi, Alexander. Nice to meet you again. Yes, I'm very excited to present you our latest addition to the Iggy Masters program. This is a game that is going to be released the 4th of July, very soon now. The game is called Wild 1. It's a bit of a special game. It's, when you see the theme, is a little bit of a post-apocalyptic theme, Mad Max inspired somehow. And well, you see the art is very different from the other games we have done so far. So either you love it or you hate it. So let's talk a little bit about the game. The game is, this is a cascade game. It's a waste game. It plays on a 6x4 grid with 496 ways to win. Well, the way it works is like any other cascade game. I mean, on every win combination, symbols disappear and get replaced by the symbols on top. But the most important feature of the game is this wild wheel that is placed on top of the grid. So when there is a win and the symbols disappear, they get replaced by symbols on top. And this wild wheel is fed by different kinds of wilds that you will be unlocking at different levels. So you can see that on top of the grid, we have 3 symbols. Those are the different wilder levels. So when you start playing the game, you start with normal wilds. And then after around 25 spins, you can unlock the first level. The first level is gonna offer you wild multipliers. So what does it take to unlock that level? It takes 2 scatterblast. I mean, a scatterblast is when you get 2 scatters at the same time on the screen, and the scatter is represented by this horn symbol, the hand. When you get 2 of them, all the symbols around in a 3x3 square disappears, explodes, creating a big blast, and then that unlocks half of the level. So you need 2 of them to unlock a level. So the first level, you get wild multipliers. The second level, you can see the wilds are represented by skulls. These skulls, the second one is like an expanding wild, and it takes around 40 spins to get there. And the third level is the unbreakable wild. It's some kind of sticky wild, let's say. So it doesn't disappear on each cascade, it remains, and that can give you really high wins. So this is the basic mechanic in the game of the base game. And then, of course, we have the free spins game. So during the free spins game, what you get is like, you play the free spins game with the unlocked level. but you have a buy bonus option. In that case, all the tiers are unlocked. So during free spins game, what you get is more wilds, more frequent, and then one of the main things is that you get the retrigger. So for each scatter that lands on the screen, you get an extra spin. But if you land 3 scatters on the screen, you get 10 additional free spins. So this can make the free spin session really, really long with very nice win potentials. So this is basically the mechanic of the game. It's a very simple game, but I think it's very, very engaging. So the idea with the game, we try to decrease a little bit the volatility to hit another kind of player. So this is a medium volatility game, medium high. And then we play as well with the RTPs, like, for example, the first wild level has a bit of a higher RTP than the last one. And the idea with that is to retain those players that are not so hardcore. Hardcore players, they can always go and buy the free spin session. But for the other type of players, this is like some kind of engagement feature that will stimulate them to keep playing the game. So that's basically it. We can have a look at the numbers a little bit of the game. So as I said, the grid is 6x4. This is an always game with 4,096 ways to win. The RTP of the game, we have 4 different versions: the 96 one, the 94, 90.5, and the 86 version. The RTP during the base game is 68.75. In free spins is 27.39. Hit frequency 25.25. Hit frequency in free spins, it takes you around 230 spins to hit free spins. And the max win of the game is capped at 5,000x. But the max win probability is once every 230 million. So actually, I mean, it's capped at 5,000x, but you can reach, which is important. The default bet size, €2. As I said, the game is coming out globally 4th of July. That's
all right. Thank you for that presentation, John. What a good looking game. Like I have to say, like, I'm a big fan of this theme, like the whole look and feel of this game. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. So I want to start talking about the theme, of course, here. So, I mean, I'm a rock and roller, right? So like for me, like I'm really getting into the groove as soon as I get into the game, and like the more I play, the more I it resonates with me. So walk me through like how you came up with the theme, with the music. You have things like the horns. I mean, everything, like the free spin animation when you enter, it's hilarious as well. Like drinking this, and there's like this massive burp coming out with the text. I think that's super, super cool. So walk me through the kind of process you had with the theme.
Well, actually, I mean, this is a game that was designed by Evgeny Wittman, our art director. It really surprised us all, basically, because we didn't have to give him so much feedback about the game. He just came up with this idea. The guy is amazing. He has a very personal style, very inspired in the Rick and Morty cartoons. So, I mean, this was all his idea. And when we saw it, we were like, smashed. I mean, go for it. Just go crazy. He's a musician himself. So the music is a very important part of the game, definitely. I mean, the music is created by our own internal musician. And I think it really works well with the theme.
That's super cool. So you actually create the music as well in-house, and you got someone in your office playing the guitar.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
nice.
Everything is done in-house. So we have our musician internally that is doing the music for all our games. So this is nothing that we are outsourcing. All the art, all the music is one of the most important things I think, from Peter and Sons, and this is something that we don't outsource. We do everything internally.
That is super cool. Mad respect for that. You mentioned the RTP, that there was some kind of different RTPs in certain features here. Like, is that something the player can choose, or is it more kind of a adaptation of the journey, so to say?
Yeah, it's more part of the journey.
Yeah.
I mean, we play a little bit with the RTP. So, for example, the first level, when the game starts, the RTP is around 97.5. When you unlock the first level, then the RTP is 96.4. It goes a little bit lower, and the last tier, the last wild level, it's played at 96. So the idea with this is just to engage the players, the new players, that they feel engaged in the beginning. They get like the volatility is a little bit lower in the beginning, and then it increases a little bit. So yes, it's to keep them motivated.
So as the volatility kind of goes up, you would see the average RTP go down pretty much in the tiers. Okay, so that is super cool. I think that's very, very nice way of doing it, because obviously you want to. I think it's very dangerous to say that you want to cater for all players, all kinds of players, but in a way, that's kind of what's going on here. That you have something for everybody, because obviously there's the buy bonus for the very hardcore players, as you mentioned as well, right?
Exactly. So that's the idea. I mean, so if you buy the free spins game, of course, you get the free spins game with all the tiers unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cost you, but for new players, for the ones that are not so wild, we gotta give them this choice. Keeps it a bit easier and keeps them motivated, so they get a few wins in the beginning, so they don't leave the game so early. That's the idea.
But that sounds super cool, and I think with that we can conclude this presentation. And like super nice that you could join us as always, Yann. Like, always nice to talk to you and to see your fantastic games. And this game was a true banger, really rocking it. So I'm looking forward to be able to play this game once it hits live. So thank you so much.
Thanks to you, Alexander.
Until next time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, with me now I have Matt Ingram from Reflex, and he's gonna talk to us about another banging release coming up. What you got for me today, Matt?
Alex, so today I want to talk about Doubling Up. It's our new game for July, coming through the Yggdrasil Masters program. All
right, super cool. So we're gonna have a look at some gameplay, and you're gonna talk us through the game and the features and the thoughts behind the game. And after you show me that, we're gonna have a little bit of a talk to see what we find and what we can expect from the game.
Okay. Take it away. Okay, great. So just to introduce you, this is Doubling Up. It's a new game for July, being released through the Yggdrasil Masters program. The game is an Irish fairy theme, which we believe has a mass appeal, particularly with the players that seem to enjoy playing our games. And on top of that, we've used the Yggdrasil Double Max game mechanic. And it's really important. The game mechanic adds something for the player, and I think Double Max game mechanic really does that, because it's meaningful. It delivers big wins, great volatility, and it isn't just something that's visually interesting. It actually does something to the player. So it's a 25-line cascading win game, and every time the win cascades, a win multiplier doubles. And theoretically, this multiplier is uncapped, so things get pretty interesting. Let's have a look at some gameplay. What's going to happen? Okay, so we've got a small queen win there. You can see the multipliers change to ×2. This means the next win is a ×2 win. And it goes to ×4. And you can see each time we're adding a wild symbol in, and this gives a much greater chance of a subsequent win. So that's the end of that sequence, back to the base game. And you'll see that the multiplier has reset now back to ×1. what's going to happen next. Okay, so there's a lucky bet I can select for 25% more of my stake. I double the chance of triggering the bonus, which I think is a great deal. Doesn't guarantee you a bonus, of course, but it means you've got twice the chance that you did have. So here I've got a nice win. It's going up to ×4. You can hear the music amping up each time, getting more exciting. Up to ×16, but no win. So that's the end of that sequence, €7. Nice win. And what the combination of the doubling multiplier and the cascading wins means that it turns, non-winning events into winning events, decent winning events. And here you saw the fairy getting rid of some non-paying symbols there and turning it into a win, which is another great base game modifier that we've used. And of course, it's triggered this whole sequence now up to ×4. Music picks up, getting exciting now, ×8. No more wins. Another win on the cauldrons. Don't always repeat, of course, not guaranteed. Ah, that was lucky. We triggered a bonus. Okay, great. Now I can gamble those free spins, but I want to show you guys this, so I won't do that on this occasion. So you can see the background's changed, the sounds have changed. The frog's having a great time on the right-hand side there. Let's just hope we can get a win. Okay, we've got a win there, horseshoes. The wild comes in, the multiplier goes up. So far, so normal. Up to ×4. Now you can see the ×8 multiplier is stuck there, it's frozen. The next win we get is going to be at ×8. And this is the great thing about this mechanic, is that this bonus just gets better and better as it goes through, and it's really starting to rock now. We're up to ×16. And it means that, you really want some wins to come in the latter stages of the bonus, because it just gets really, really exciting with that multiplier. And that can go up very, very high. I mean, this is a very volatile game. Up to ×32 now. So every win starts to really count. Sadly, that's a lot to ×64, but that is a fairly low-paying feature for this game, and you can see it's pretty meaningful. So that's the game, really. Yeah, so it's some exciting stuff going on in there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Thank you for the presentation, Matt. That was beautiful. What a beautiful game, I must say. I mean, first of all, I mean, the name. Wow. I mean, that's like 200,000 IQ right there, like the play on words. I mean, so what was it your idea? Like who's the smarts behind this?
Well, I'd love to take responsibility for that, but that was one of my senior game producers who had a flash of inspiration there. Now clearly the joke might not work in every language, but in English at least it's pretty funny, I think, and so relevant to the theme and the game mechanic. So yeah, pleased with that. Yeah,
I think it ties everything together perfectly well. I mean, as you say, the theme, you have the Irish, Dublin, and then obviously, I mean, very close to doubling, which is what we're doing essentially here with the double max. So I mean, wow, just from the name, as soon as I read the name, I'm like, yes, this is good. I want this.
yeah, it's a clever pun. I agree.
It plays so well as well. Obviously, the anticipation, you want to hit the high multipliers. I mean, how far can I go, especially in the bonus round when it sticks and you just want to climb higher and higher. You mentioned this many times throughout the presentation that it's a very volatile game. If you had to put it on a scale, let's say from 1 to 10, like where would how volatile is it?
Well, I think it's right up there with a lot of these the big volatile games that are out there at the moment and doing very well. You know, and volatility isn't for everybody, certainly. But I know that you know the core players really like it, and I can understand why. But the good thing about this game is that you know you don't sacrifice the win frequency for the volatility. You know, the volatility is predominantly in the free spins bonus. Yeah. The base game is nice and steady. So I would put it up into this sort of 8+, you know, level of, in terms of on the scale you just mentioned. But I think it does it in a very subtle way. You know, it's not just taking it all from the bottom end and putting it at the top end.
Yeah. Because it's nice and smooth. Because like you obviously got a lot of potential in the base game as well. I mean, it's gonna be harder to hit something really juicy in the base game, but I mean it's there. The multipliers on the side, you can see it is very tangible. You know what you're looking for. So I really like that, because I believe that it really creates this thrill of the spin, this player engagement in every step of the way in the story that you're playing through, right? You're farming for the bonus bound. You really want to get in there to get the high multipliers, of course. And along the way, you got plenty of opportunities to gamble and increase your chances with the lucky bet. I mean, I just think that this is a very kind of well-rounded game through and through for being such a volatile game, which is something that I really like. So obviously, I mean, we had this huge success with Raptor Double Max. So this game is, you know, it's going to resemble this Raptor, you know, to some extent in the, you know, in the math model, and, you know, how it feels kind of to play it in terms of the thrill, right? But you have very different theme here, looking at Doubling Up and Raptor. So what do you think in terms of, you know, which players would prefer this game over Raptor? What do you think?
Well, I guess it's a personal preference thing, but we know that the Irish theme always do really well with UK audiences. You know, obviously we're predominantly from a machine side of things, gaming machine side of things. We're predominantly in the UK, and so we know the markets really well in the UK, and we have some very supportive operator partners that we reach via you guys. I'd like to hope that the theme can preclude those from further afield and the others right across Europe to playing this game. You know, the Irish themes have always worked pretty well. And as we know, the fairy thing as well has been very popular with certain games. So I'm hoping that we've given it a mass appeal, you know, by using the theme that we have.
Yeah, super good. I mean, yeah, so thank you very much for dialing in and for giving us this amazing presentation. I think we're all looking forward to this release. I mean, me myself included. I think it's going to do really well across the board. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And
thanks for your time. Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Alex.